It's Greg the Gamer. Welcome back to the channel today. Hey, so I've been getting a lot of comments in previous videos and on the Discord that, you should do a naval game, do Naval Germany, do this, do that sort of thing. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not super proficient at the Navy. I've got over 3,000 hours in this game, and I'm just starting to fully understand the naval game. I think that's a common thing, common issue for a lot of players. HOI is an onion with many layers. So, hey, I thought, would be kind of fun. Why don't I play a nation that I usually avoid like the plague and see if we can take Naval Japan to the tippy top of power in 1940, 1941 and see if we can humble the United States Navy in the Pacific War. I think we can, so go ahead and grab a cup of coffee, sit back, relax, and let's hop into Naval Japan. Welcome to Japan, 1936. Hey, so we're going to need to get this country sorted out here before we get up to some things. We're going to need to be going to war with China here relatively soon. So let's see what we need to do to get us ready in the best position possible. So first of all, let's go ahead and choose our national focus here. We're going to want to go ahead and, we're going to go down the historical path here. So we're going to purge the Kohota here faction. It's going to give us some stability and allow us to continue to work down our faction tree here. Next up, let's go ahead and get our industry sorted. So we've got a few things here we can do. Just kind of normal setup, get your wrenches, get your electrical engineering, get your girders. Let's get that going. Now, you can got another research slot here, so you could do a couple things. If you want to go Naval Japan, you could go ahead and rush the 1936 destroyer hull. Not a bad idea. Alternatively, you could also go ahead and grab range improvements for your aircraft. We're gonna be fighting in China here fairly soon, so and China is vast. We might want to grab some range improvements to increase our range for our aircraft, which is not great currently. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and grab that. We'll assign a Mayo. Perfect. We're going to need to trade for a little bit of resources to get started here. Let's go ahead and grab some rubber from Siam, and let's go ahead and grab some aluminum from the Soviet Union. Okay, so as for our factories, we are all right, but we do need to build up our industry a fair bit here. So you'll see here that these provinces here do have a fair amount of tungsten and steel, but the infrastructure is pretty low. So I'm going to go ahead and build a couple infrastructures in both of those provinces to get more resources out of them, which we will greatly need. And then I'm going to go ahead and follow up with some civilian factories here. That'll be fine. I think that'll be plenty to get us started. And don't worry about the war industry here. We're going to get plenty more military factories as we go. Speaking of military factories, we're going to need to get our infantry sorted here. So let's go ahead and I think I'm going to put most of on guns here. Let's do a couple on support equipment, a couple on towed artillery. I'm not a fan of these little light tanks, these tankettes. Very similar to Italy, and so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that production line. I'm not a big fan of it. Next, let's go ahead and move both of our planes up here. So we do have carrier bombers, and we do have some light aircraft. These are both pretty terrible planes. So we'll go ahead and leave a factory on each of these, but we'll go ahead and continue building them for the time being. Next up, we're going to need some bombers for China. So we've got a few interwar planes here. We've got the KI-2, which if you look at that, we have small bomb bays on here. And, we can do close air support. We can do port strikes and logistic strikes, but we're not able to target naval ships. Now, if we go up to the KI-3, we have the bomb locks, which allow us to do close air, naval strike, and logistic strikes. Both planes are fairly garbage interwar planes, but I do like the KI-3 more as we can do naval strikes. So we're going to go ahead and queue up a production line of the KI-3. And I think that's probably the right move. We'll go ahead and put another factory on there. Now we've got a few more factories here, so let's go ahead and see what else we want to. We're also going to need some trains. I almost forgot about that. So we're going to need a fair amount of trains for China. So let's also get a factory on there as well. This will be an initial setup here, and I think that's going to be fine. As for our army, let's go ahead and get those guys queued up. We have a pretty chunky army to get started in 1936, but yeah, so the templates we got here, we've got the Hokkei Shidan and the Chutan Chishidan. So these guys, and I'm sure I butchered the Japanese, I apologize to any Japanese viewers out there. So these are kind of our base garrison units, and these guys will do an okay job holding the line. They're just a block of 12 width infantry. Now, the Hokkei Shidan here, these are our better infantry templates here. So 24 combat width, they're not the greatest, but they're a heck of a lot better than currently the other units. So these are the two templates they're going to be rocking with initially. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just for sake of my own self here, I'm going to change the icon here so I can better see them. So now let's go ahead and get everything set up. What I like to do is take the fast units here and separate those out. We have the Hokkei Shidan here. We're going to go ahead and put those guys in their own army. And now we have 31 of, well, actually, excuse me, we do have some Marines. Let's also go ahead and put those guys in their own army as well. Now we have 30 units of the kind of crappy infantry. So let's go ahead and S to split those. Let's go ahead and separate them into another army here as well. And it doesn't really matter what we do with these guys. We're just going to go ahead and, for the time being, park them in Japan. It's not super critical. Again, we're not going to be going to war for a while, so that's fine. And we do have plans for all of these groups here. The Marines I'm actually going to park in Nagasaki. So we'll go ahead and do that. And you don't even need to assign generals at this point. We'll go ahead and worry about that later. It's not a big deal. I will go ahead and assign a field marshal just because I want to. But nevertheless, next up, the Navy. We've got a pretty chunky Navy. It's small and out of date compared to the American and the British navies, so we're going to need to fix that and fix it pretty quick. So let's go ahead and just grab up all of our ships here, and we're going to want to go ahead and group all these up. So anything that floats, we're just going to go ahead and G to group them up. And let's just assign an admiral. Yep, Yamamoto will be fine. And we're going to go ahead and put these guys on automatic split off enabled. And let's also go ahead and get these guys exercising. So we're going to want to start to get some early naval XP, which we're going to need pretty soon here. As for currently, we're a little behind on guns. I'm not going to be recruiting any troops here at the initial offset, but that's fine, totally fine. You can always go your own route on that, but I want to catch up on the guns a little bit before we go any further. So, and we're off. What I would recommend highly is go ahead and switch your garrisons and operations to high value here, or high priority. And another thing that I usually do is come into Occupy Territory. You'll notice that here we go, yeah, the Mariana Federation, as it's 70% compliance, I would go ahead and switch that over to civilian oversight. It's going to save on your occupation in that territory, save on guns, save on manpower. So, you know, not a bad thing. Also, another thing I did forget is make sure that we go ahead and get an intelligence agency going as quickly as possible. Section 3. We're going to be doing quite a bit of shenanigans in China. Okay, Section 3 is complete here. Let's go ahead and we're going to need a few upgrades. Now, what I typically like to do is I like to grab the form department, the cryptology department, and I also like to grab invisible ink, both of the radio interception group for decryption power, and then the unfortunately named pills as well. So let's go ahead and grab one of these to get started. We're going to need 5 of these before we can get our next spy. Now, I almost forgot, we do have Hirohito, of course, as our leader. We do have a few things that work to our We have Hirohito as our leader. We do have a few things that work to our ability. We have stage Shintoism, which is pretty great. The Zaibatas corporations, not so good, but we're going to fix those. We have duplicate research efforts for our air research, which isn't super. We have militarism. And we also have the inter-service rivalry between the Army and the Navy to contend with. So we'll have to work on all of those. Now that we do have a little bit of political power, I'm going to go ahead and grab a chief of the army here. Now, you could go ahead and save up and grab Hideki Tojo, but I like to grab Prince Kanin here, I guess. He's going to give us only 20% or 0.20 daily army XP, but it does give some division attack, which is good, and he's cheap, and we're going to be able to get that XP quicker. Okay, we do have our first spy slot available here, so let's go ahead and pick a spy. I usually go ahead and grab this lady down here, as she has Chinese nationality, Japanese nationality, and Manchu nationality. That will make her harder to be detected, and we're going to go ahead and plop her in China here and start to build an intel network. Okay, Germany's done its thing. We've purged the Kohota faction here, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and choose Guide the Zaibatas here for extra factories and construction speed. Then we're going to go and move down National Mobilization Law, grab the research slot here, and also nationalize the war industry. And then from there, we'll go ahead and see what time it is. We may hop down and grab naval estimates to increase our naval shipyard development, and then work our way down to the Marco Polo Bridge incident. So now we do have some shipyards available here, so let's go ahead and I should have done this earlier, I'm going to go ahead and move these heavy ships down to the bottom. I don't really care about that. I am going to just kind of assign more factories here. A number of these cruisers I don't really like. I'm actually going to go ahead and queue up one of these. And most of the development for these cruisers and other ships have already been completed, so it would be kind of silly to stop that. However, having said that, I am going to go ahead and get rid of these early submarines. They are garbage submarines, and I should have done that a few months ago, but that's fine. Mistakes were made. So we'll go ahead and queue these ships up. And once these are complete, we're going to be designing new and better ships that we'll use to humble the U.S. Navy, but we're going to need a little more XP for that. So let's go ahead and grab the Zaibatas. Now, we have a few cruisers already available to us that we're currently building, like the Mogami cruiser here. It's fine ship, but you'll notice here it's a little bit pricey. And what we need is we need to design a ship that's going to make use of speed, limited firepower, and we need a way to shred the American screens that are protecting their larger ships. So we're going to need to design a better cruiser that will help us do that. So let's go ahead and look at our cruiser template here, 1936 cruiser hull. And we're going to go ahead and design a better cruiser. So let's go ahead and we're going to grab, so whatever gun you put on a cruiser, or really any ship, is going to determine what it is exactly, but it's particularly a cruiser, whether it's a light cruiser or a heavy cruiser. So we're going to go ahead to a medium battery here, and we're going to grab Heavy Cruiser Battery 1. So that is going to designate this cruiser as a heavy cruiser. We're also going to go ahead and over here to fire control system and put our best fire control system on there right now, which, it's not great, but we'll get better ones as we go along. We want to put the best engine on there, which engine 2 is currently our best engine. And for our secondary slots, let's go ahead and put on secondary battery 1 on here. And these other 2 slots that we have, we're also going to go ahead and fill up with secondary battery 1s. Basically, what this is going to do, you'll notice the ship here is at 36 knots. It is a pretty darn speedy ship. It has no armor, It has really no armor. We didn't put any armor on the thing, but it is super quick. It's going to weave in to the screens and be able to put a fair amount of fire on those screens, destroying those destroyers and opening up the potential for our destroyers and other ships to drop torpedoes in the water and hit those larger capital ships and carriers of the American fleet. So all good things. Let's also go ahead and assign a Mayo here. I usually prefer to grab the Sasebo naval arsenal here. It's going to give a 5% reduction to surface visibility. So that's usually what I go with. And let's just go ahead and pick some heavy cruiser names. That's fine. And yeah, that will get us started. Let's pick something that looks, yeah, that's fine. So let's go ahead and put these guys into development here. And now we have the 36 cruiser hulls, so let's go ahead and also get these guys queued up. And, all right, we'll assign a Mayo. So what we're going to do is we're going to get these other ships complete. And I'm actually going to put this above of our heavy ship here. And then we're going to want to build as many of these as we can get punched out before the war. So... and then we also have 38. So I believe that should probably be enough. Let's design a better destroyer once we're going to all right, range improvements are complete as well as mechanical engineering. At this point, you can basically decide what you want to do. If you want to focus on your Air Force, you're going to take a massive hit due to a headed time penalty and our duplicate research. On the other hand, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on moving down to grabbing mechanical computing as well as radio. And I'm also going we're going to be utilizing artillery a fair amount. It's something that China doesn't really have, and usually they use in their templates, and it's something we're going to be using heavily. Now that we do have cryptology, let's go ahead and start decrypting China as well. That will be very good for operations. And we do have our spy at 62%. That's sufficient for what we're planning for collaboration governments. So let's go ahead and switch her to Quiet Intel Network here. This is going to make it less easy for them to find her. In fact, it'll be pretty much impossible. And for our last, let's go ahead and we already grabbed that. So we're actually going to be getting another spy. Okay, well, we do have room for a second spy here, so we do have a few options. Really, right now, the only one I would say, let's go ahead and grab this individual here. He has a seducer trait. It'll be harder to discover. Now that it is August here, should have done this a little bit sooner, but what we're going to do is we're going to send some volunteers to Spain and help out in the Civil War. So... we can send 3 volunteers. Okay, let's go ahead and send some volunteers to help out the Spanish here in their little civil war. And we can send 3 and some air volunteers. So let's go ahead and send 3 and some air volunteers. Perfect. Okay, our 3 divisions have arrived in Spain here. So let's go ahead and assign a general to them. I prefer to grab, where is he? Yes, this guy, Yamada. He's got a cavalry officer, and promotion cost is reduced. We have motorized here, so we can probably get a combined arms general out of him if we play our cards right. Now that we've caught up on our guns, let's go ahead and get some more of our Shutan Shidon queued up here. So let's just grab 18. That'll get us started here. Okay, we've got the extra research slot here, so let's go ahead and look at what we want to improve. Let's go ahead and grab radio. It's fine. And now we've completed the national research policy. Let's go ahead and nationalize the war industry. It's going to give us 2 mills and 2 civvies. Pretty good for 70 days. All right, let's go ahead and improve the spirit of the Army here. I like to grab Professional Officer Corps to get started. We're not producing a tremendous amount of Army XP, and I want to maximize that. Okay, we've nationalized the war industry. Fantastic. Also, the anti-Comintern pact. Let's just go ahead and join that. Okay, now we've got a few things we can do here. I do want to grab National Defense State and Spiritual Mobilization before I work our way down to the Marco Polo Bridge incident. However, I do want to make a quick pit stop off to the new naval estimates. This is going to give us 4 naval dockyards and some Navy experience. I think it's 70 days that we can afford, and that's fine. We're not in a big rush to get to China in 37, so don't worry about that. We'll have plenty of time. All right, let's move our troops, and it doesn't really matter, but we want to get them there as quickly as possible. And we're just going to make a push through the southern part of Spain here. Okay, we have our destroyer hull perfect here. So we're now going to design some better ships, some better destroyers here. So let's go ahead and do that. Nope. Okay, so we have Destroyer 2. Let's go ahead and design this. So very much in the same spirit of our cruiser. We want something that's cheap as chips, but it's also going to not necessarily help deal with enemy screens. But the point of this ship is to put torpedoes in the water. Torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. So let's go ahead and grab 1 light battery 1 here. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Grab fire control 1. And for our torpedoes, let's go ahead and grab the best torpedoes we have here. So torpedo launcher 2. Okay. And you can see here production cost, $885. These are cheap. But that is great. That's what we need. So we're going to go ahead and get these boys queued up. Escort fleet. And again, we will go ahead and get them queued up again. I want all of these ships to just feed into our main battle fleet. That's fine for the time being. And then we will break apart whatever we need to deal with whatever sea zone that we have. So that'll be fine. Okay, we do have political power again here, so I'm actually going to go ahead and grab the elusive gentleman here for that extra operative slot. We need that. Okay, we do have some more troops here, so we'll just go ahead and start assigning them to our armies. Things are going relatively well in Spain. Okay, new naval estimates are complete. As well as a new operative. So let's go ahead and first queue up our new operative. Unfortunately, we don't have anyone that's really all that remarkable. That's okay. We'll just go ahead and grab this fella, and that is fine. What I want to do is I want to get at least 2, if not 3, collaboration governments on China. Reason, of course, as you may or may not know, China has a lot of victory points, and it is a massive nation, of course. So, to capitulate China, you're going to have to walk all the way to Chongqing here to try to cap China. And as you all know, the fighting in China is a logistics nightmare. In order to prevent that and hopefully help them cap somewhere closer to Wuhan or Changde here, we're going to get some collaboration governments on China. So let's go ahead and get our operatives queued here as well. So we'll go ahead and get that set up. So now we do have the ability to do our first collaboration government here. So let's go ahead and grab, well, these 2 gentlemen will conduct the affairs while she keeps the operation going. So we'll go ahead and set these to auto repeat and get the first collaboration government going. And again, make sure your operations are set to the highest priority. Okay, now that we've had our little detour, let's go ahead and we're going to grab the National Defense State, Spiritual Mobilization, and then we're going to work our way down from Liaison Conference all the way down to the Marco Polo Bridge incident. Now we do have a little naval XP here, so I'm actually going to spend some of that to elevate our Marine Corps. That's going to give us pioneers, which are going to be super useful for what we're going to be needing to do with our troops here. So, and also what we're going to do is we're going to update our Marine template here. So currently we're rocking 12 width Marines. Not that great. Not that great. Not terrible, but not that great. I'd like to try to bring these up to 25 combat width if I could, ideally. We're going to go ahead and grab artillery here, and that brings up to 15. I don't know. Our special forces cap may not allow for us to... looks like it may be able to. And we are behind on equipment, but that is fine. We'll get infantry equipment as quickly as we can here, so especially at the new factories. And so let's go ahead and we'll wait until we get pioneers, and then we'll be able to update this engineer company. But for the time being, this will be fine as a placeholder. Set these guys to elite status, and let's spend the XP. Now we do have a little aviation experience here, so let's go ahead and first of all grab centralized control. That's going to improve our air mission efficiency by 10%, which is a no-brainer. Next up, once we have the XP, we're going to grab, we'll grab industry liaisons here, which is going to reduce our research time for our aircraft, which we do take a current hit on with our duplicate research here, so we'll try to mitigate that. All right, it's September 30th, 1937. Let's go ahead and change our templates here a little bit. Currently recruiting more of our cheap infantry to fill out another full army. I'd like to have 3, if not 4, full army groups if we can before army divisions, that is, before we invade China. So, all right, let's go ahead and go into our HOI4 here. We're gonna make a few changes. 24 width combat, that's fine. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove these 3 infantry battalions, bringing it down to 18 combat width. And we're going to go ahead and slap on some artillery, bringing it to 21 combat width. So these guys are decent. And we'll also go ahead and put on some support artillery as well. So these guys are going to be, these guys are going to have the bite, effectively. We're going to need to punch through the Chinese line. Organization is a little bit of a problem, but we're going to continue to work our way down our focus tree here pretty quickly, so we should be able to fix that organization rate, pretty quick. It's got decent breakthrough, decent soft attack stats, so we're going to go ahead and put these guys into service. And we do currently have the infantry equipment and the artillery for it. Great. We are currently working on our second collaboration government with 60 days left. It's October of 37, and so we're looking pretty good right now. Now, each collaboration government, as you may or may not know, it stacks on the others, so you're going to need more civilian factories, more equipment, so on and so forth. It does get rather expensive. But we do want at least 2, if not 3 collaboration governments. Okay, so we're almost completed the Greater East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere, so we're going to want to make some changes to our current lineup of our infantry here. So right now, we currently have 14 divisions of our good infantry. We're going to be recruiting some more here very soon. We also have, 3 armies of our, kind of crappy infantry we're going to use to hold the line and fill the gaps in the line. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, we're going to be making some changes here. Okay, so we're going to take our good infantry, the HOI4, and we're going to park these guys on the border of Beijing here and Hebei, East Hebei. And this will be a pretty good defensive line. The Chinese are going to throw themselves into this defensive line constantly, but that's what we want. And for our commander, let's go ahead and grab, Yamashita here. He's pretty great commander, and he's going to do great things with this division here. We're going to go ahead and grab one of our other armies of just average infantry, 12 with infantry, and we're going to park them behind here, and they're going to allow us to reinforce that line when we do make a push. And we'll just go ahead and grab Tanaka here, and we'll go ahead and get the rest of our commanders sorted here as well. Okay, and then we do have our Marines. We have currently 5 divisions of Marines at the moment. So let's go ahead and grab this guy, Hitoshi Amura, I think just thematically it works great. He's a commando already, so perfect. All right. Okay, so the East Asian Prosperity Sphere is complete here, so let's go ahead and grab the Marco Polo Bridge incident. It's going to give us our war goal on China. It's December of 37, so it's time. And we've completed our second collaboration government on China. So we are beginning our third, and we currently have 75% towards collaboration. So yeah, if we can get we should be able to easily get 100%. Now, with our collaboration government efforts underway here, we are having to use more and more of our industry to support that, and so we've lost the access of our civilian factories in order to do that. So, unfortunately, we've lost our trade routes, so we'll have to get those back. Okay, we do have our volunteer forces back from their little kerfuffle in Spain, so I'm actually going to go ahead and add these guys into our Marine division as well here, our Marine Army. Obviously not Marines, but we're going to be able to do some shenanigans with these trucks, and we do have one of our good HOI4 units, and they're veterans. Another thing that I should have done, and I didn't, but it would probably be a good idea to build a few air bases in East Hebei here. We do have air bases over here, but the range for our fighters currently and bombers is pretty limited, so we're going to need to make a change here. Okay, the Marco Polo Bridge incident has happened. We've completed that focus, so now we do have a war goal on China. So what we're going to go ahead and do is get this war kicked off. We're going to go ahead and declare war on nationalist China. They are the leader of the Chinese United Front, and so they will pull everybody else in once we declare war at some point. So we'll go ahead and pull them in. We don't need to call allies just yet. I like to call them in individually as needed. Also, let's go ahead. We're going to need to defend these sea zones. So with our fleet here, we're going to go ahead and hit split S. And we're going to go grab both of these up, and we're going to go ahead and just put these guys on strike force in these two sea zones. That'll be fine. That'll keep any Chinese ships from making it out. As for our planes here, let's go ahead and we'll just start bombing in northern China here. I'm also going to assign these guys the LOC for some aerial supremacy. We do have some fighters and bombers here already. We're going to be waiting until our airfields are complete in East Hebei here, so we can go ahead and, support northern China here. We also have our orders set up for our Marines here, so we do have our Marines ready to make landing on the tip here, just the tip, and we'll see if we can take some pressure off the front here. But what we want to do is we want the Chinese to bash themselves into our wall of troops right here with our good infantry, and they certainly probably will. Alright, so what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to get to 0. So that means we're going to need to go down fighter modernization, agility focus, as well as carrier warfare, first air fleet to get to the 0. So we're going to go ahead and start with the fighter modernization. So it's very unlikely the Chinese are going to be able to break through our troops here. They're going to keep throwing themselves at our lines, which is what we want. We want to level up our troops, and we want to bleed them of manpower and equipment. But it's really important. I am not calling in Menkuko here because I don't want them to push in here and I have to defend multiple different fronts. We're going to try to pincer these guys, and so we don't want them to join the war, at least just not yet. And it looks like the Chinese are doing exactly what we want, and they are smashing against our troops. So what we're going to need to do first and foremost here is we're going to need to escalate the war in China with this button here. It's 25 political power, and as you can tell right here, we do have a really, really nasty debuff to fighting in China. So we can get rid of that debuff by clicking this button. We're going to need to hit it 3 times before we go in. And I believe you can hit that button once a month or every 3 weeks or something to that effect. Okay, this will be the 3rd time we've escalated the war in China. Let's go ahead and grab that. So the bonuses are a lot worse, or a lot better, I should say, than they were. So we should be able to probably make some inroads at this point. So let's go ahead and slow the game down here. We're going to go ahead and activate our naval invasion orders from our Marines. And we're going to go ahead and grab both of our fleets, and we're going to put them on naval invasion support. And if it looks like we're not going to make it, we can always go ahead and force attack to try to help into the port. But it looks like we're going to probably take this port. Well, we've made a successful landing here, so let's go ahead and reorganize our Marines and the rest of our forces. And I want them to come down to roughly here. If we can take King Dao here, or Xing Dao, that would be ideal. So let's keep pushing while we have that initiative. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to maintain our fuel for too much longer for our Navy. Okay, it looks like we're pushing him back. We're pushing him back. Great. Yeah, the line's getting a little thin. I don't know if we're going to be able to hold out there entirely, but I think we probably can hold them until our reinforcements arrive. Fantastic. All right, they've done a pretty good job here. Our next target is Jinan here. We also want to try to push down with our better infantry if we can. There's a supply hub here in Hebei that we really want. And again, don't bring these guys into the war, Manchukuo. We don't want them to join the war just yet. As for our Navy, they've done their job. We're almost out of fuel again, so let's go ahead and set them to strike force to save on that precious fuel. And so we don't run out of oil, let's go ahead and import what we need here as well. All right, now if we click escalate the war in China, we're going to completely remove that debuff, which is excellent. And our troops are really going to come into their own now. Okay, well, we're pushing down pretty effectively, but what we want to do is grab the supply hub if we can. Take another small encirclement up here. Let's destroy these guys. Okay, we've completed the first air fleet. Let's go ahead and pick up the Zero. Pretty darn good carrier fighter. But we can also use it for some limited use inland. All right, Jinan is about to fall. Excellent. Okay, great. All right, so the Panay has happened. So the American ship was sunk. So we're going to have to take a hit to that. Okay, so this will happen. The United States demands an apology, so we can agree to American terms, take a 100 political power hit, or we can say, no, we get some political power, but the U.S. gets an automatic war goal against us, and it's not really a thing we want to deal with at the moment, so I would agree to the American terms. We'll just take the hit. It's fine. Okay, let's see if we can make some landings in Shanghai. Possibly. It looks like we're going to do okay here. Let's go ahead and force attack our way back in. Excellent. Okay. Good job, guys. Good job. Good job. All right. Let's go ahead and get our Zero fighters queued up here as well. Okay. We've linked up the lines, and we're just about to take Nanjing. Excellent. And we've taken Nanjing. So, for the Emperor... just going down the infiltration side. I think it plays pretty well with Japan. Plus, if you come down to infiltration assault, you get the supply consumption of negative 10%, which is not bad. We're going to go ahead and grab Strike South Doctrine. Granted, we're not done with China just yet, but it won't be too much longer. All right, we've taken Fusan. Excellent. We are pushing them back. Excellent. We've made landings everywhere. Let's go around. Let's see if we can... they're starting to have quite a few holes in their line. But ultimately our goal again is to meet up with our forces down here. And let's go ahead and see if we can get some better supply through here. There's no rail lines here, so we're going to go ahead and try to connect those up. Nice squiggly rail lines. Okay, I'm going to see if I can change out one of our armies. Looks like we're doing fine. We'll go ahead and update them to the better template. Okay, we're making landings. Yep, and we've made landings. Perfect. Great. All right, let's go ahead and move everybody over. Okay, we've taken Wuhan. Excellent. Excellent. Guangxi Click has capitulated. And just like that, China has capitulated. Finally. Took long enough. That's okay. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. So we do have 100% collaboration government on China. So let's go ahead and just take everything. Don't mind this little communist speck in the middle of Japan. I thought I had selected all of the nations, all the warlords, but apparently I missed one. So, you know, Mao, don't worry. I'm coming back for you. Coming back for you, buddy. Okay, so now that we've dealt with that, we need to do a few things. One, we'll deal with Communist China here in a few months. Not a problem there. We're also going to go ahead and demand Indochina from Vichy France. On historical, they should accept that. We're going to come over to our friends in Italy and Germany. And we're going to ask for military access and docking rights. That sounds good. And we're also going to come over here to British Malaya. And we're going to go ahead and justify a war goal on them for 100 days, 20 political power. Not a problem. So we'll go ahead and take our entire army. And we just want to get them over to Italy at the moment. And then since we have our troops moving over to Italy, let's go ahead and take our fleet now. And we're going to sail it over to Wilhelmshaven here. Let's finally actually make some better fighters than what we currently have. We have the Zero, but we need some better regular fighters as well. Let's get the best engine on there. Mitsubishi. Let's just stick a couple light machine guns on there. That'll be fine. Extra fuel tanks. And what do we want? Yeah, we'll throw a defensive turret on there. That's fine. That's fine. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move these guys off of this. And instead, I'm going to go ahead and just defend this coastline because it'd be pretty embarrassing if we were naval invaded by the British. Okay, our forces are making it to Italy. Great, 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 great. Okay, Siam has joined our alliance. Fantastic. And we're going to go ahead and declare war on British Malaya. So, instantly, we're going to go to war. Yep, great. I bet Germany will allow us military access, and they will. Perfect. So now we're going to go ahead and... So one of the strangest things happened that I can't explain. All my troops were parked in Italy before I declared war on the Allies. And then instantly, like, most of them were instantly teleported to south of the Suez Canal here. So out of the Mediterranean, they were already standing in Italy. And then they were transported to the Red Sea, being attacked by the British Navy, and then were forced to retreat back to Asia. So most of my forces are on their way back to Japan. Some of them didn't get transported, but my entire army was in Italy. So now we have quite a few less troops than we should ordinarily here. So hopefully this is going to be enough. All right, let's see if we can get naval landings off here. It's kind of a crapshoot to know what the British are up to, if it's fully defended or undefended. Oh, well, we've made a fair amount of landings. Okay. We want to spread out as much as possible and grab as much territory as we can, but we also want to surround London. Okay. We've surrounded London, so that is very, very good. And we'll just deal with the Chinese once and for all here. Let's get the leads. Currently are only at 7% war participation. I'd like to have a lot more. Grab Manchester. Okay, Communist China's done. Fantastic. It's kind of a spaghetti mess here, but again, we just want to not take too much territory. We want to milk out the war participation as much as we can so that we can get as much of the pie as possible in the peace conference here. Okay, great. The United Kingdom has capitulated. The Allies have capitulated. Fantastic. So that's what we want to see. I wish we had a little bit more war score, but it wasn't in the cards. Okay, well, peace at last here. So, wasn't able to get everything we wanted. Obviously, I would have preferred to have been able to take the Raj. In a perfect scenario, that would be what you could do if you had a higher war score against the UK. But some weird stuff happened with teleporting units, and I don't want to lose too much territory in China, and Siam had already been wiped out, so I figured, better end the war sooner than later. But you can see here, the Greater East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere continues to grow larger and larger. We were able to pick up Australia and New Zealand, as well as the Japanese East Indies and Malaysia in the peace conference. So at the end of the day, we pretty much grabbed everything we would historically want anyway. Well, we have quite a few puppets now, and resources are no longer an issue. We can pretty much do whatever we want. The world is our oyster. Okay, it's June 41, and we have secured the Philippines. So that gives us the war goal on the Philippines, and we're getting ready to go to war with America. Okay, let's go to war against the Philippines, which of course is going to bring America in, and we will see how well our ships fare. Okay, we've made landings in the Philippines. Let's go ahead and get the rest of our forces over here. We're pushing down, doing pretty well. Yeah, we've almost destroyed their main army, if you can call it that. Alright, we've caught the American Navy a few times here. We've taken some convoys out. I would say the first engagement, the Battle of Yojima here, was pretty successful. 10 destroyers, 2 light cruisers, 1 plane. I can take that. Yeah, another big battle here. 9 destroyers, 2 light cruisers. Yeah. Not too bad so far. Okay, we've almost taken the fort. Okay, cool. We're going to take the port, so we'll have some trade, or some supply rather, so that'll be good. Okay, the Philippines have capitulated. Fantastic. Okay, and we're getting our naval invasions ready for Siam, or Guam, excuse me. Alright, another engagement, another 12 destroyers lost by the American Navy. Okay, we've taken Guam. Fantastic. As you can see, we do have complete naval dominance of the Pacific, so, we're losing a few convoys here and there, but nothing we can't sustain. Alright, Wake Island. Let's see. Can we make landings? We are potentially making landings. Yep, we've made landings. Excellent. And that's it. Yeah. I'm taking Midway. Fantastic. Well, we seem to have gotten rid of most of those pesky American submarines. They're really running out of places to base them at. Alright, let's switch our fleet to naval invasion support, and we're off. I don't know if we're going to make landfall at Johnson, but that's okay. It's more of a diversionary tactic anyway. We have landed in Honolulu, boys. Fall of Pearl Harbor. Alright, it looks like we finally found the American Navy. Let's see how we do here. Doing alright. Trading alright. Trading alright. Yeah, I'd say those battle cruisers and destroyers are paying off for us. Yeah, those are losses. I think I can handle that. Yeah, 23 destroyers, 4 light cruisers, 5 really old early class destroyers, junk destroyers. And yeah, those are some losses they can't really sustain here. So lost a battleship, 2 light cruisers, 7 destroyers, 4 early destroyers again. Not quite as good as I would have liked, but those aren't bad. Those aren't bad. We did lose a little bit more up here. We did lose one of our early heavy cruisers, but it's not one of the ones that we designed. However, the Americans have lost 33 destroyers in that fight. Oh my gosh. All right, we made landings. Line islands are ours. And indeed we did catch them with our pants down. 3 destroyers to 39 destroyers, 1 light cruiser. That ain't bad. Currently, they have 200 ships left. It's a lot of ships, but we have just absolutely been annihilating their ships. We've taken very few losses. I'm actually very, very happy with that. And yeah, we've taken pretty much all of the islands in the Pacific here. There's still a bugginess around the home island with raiding with submarines here, but we are hitting them with with casts and other ways to try to prevent them from doing too much damage. But it is pretty annoying. But that's okay. We will get that sorted out. They're running out of bases to base any kind of operations in. Their sub is probably coming out of Attu Island down here. So that's next on the chopping list, but the chopping block. But I think that's probably where we'll go ahead and leave it here today. Japan is mighty and controls all of the Pacific in this world. We have a very chunky Chinese puppet, Australia, New Zealand, all the Dutch East Indies for resources. Germany's not doing too well against the Soviet Union, so maybe we helped them out and knocked the Soviet Union out, maybe not, I don't really know. But at this rate, America is not going to have any naval vessels left. So yeah, you can really see the potential of a Naval Japan. I guess I've just never really played them, and it was pretty darn fun. So yeah, I've made some really cheap heavy cruisers and destroyers, and they've done their job and then some. So anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this little journey into Naval Japan, and I hope you've had fun. I know I have. But anyways, consider liking, sharing, and subbing to the channel. It helps us continue to grow. I've got more Hearts of Iron content to come out here very soon. And it does sound like we have an expansion on the way, so stay tuned for that. So anyways, thanks guys. This has been Greg the Gamer. Take care, and I'll be with you soon.